It doesn't, and I used an example in a couple of talks that I've given of the 3 service members that I know of just off the top of my head who it became known around their units while they were downrange in Iraq and Afghanistan. It became known in their units that they were atheists, and they received so many threats from their own service members, their brothers and sisters in uniform, that they had to be sent back to the United States for their own safety.
So that just destroys the cohesion and esprit de corps and
right.
all that.
And where these service members are usually identified is it'll be something, I mean, completely harmless, like just not wanting to participate in the pre-mission prayer. And not trying to stop the prayer, just not wanting to participate, and it ends up drawing the negative attention.
Well, as a church-state separation advocate, I got bells going off. It's like, why is there a prayer at all?
Exactly. There's a prayer because the evangelical chaplains are having their units conduct these prayers before they go out on mission. And I challenge anybody who may call in today who's been in the service, if they were in a unit that went through an entire deployment in Iraq or Afghanistan and they weren't asked to do a pre-mission prayer, I would love to hear about it because
you think they all were?
I think most of them were.
It's
yes.
become very pervasive.
Yes.
So what do you want to change? What would fix all this?
My particular hot button issue with the meeting that we had with the Secular Coalition of America was our equal opportunity system. And, again, there's so many issues we could have tackled, but we had to focus. We only had an hour and a half, and for the military piece, we had 20 minutes. So we really had to focus. And my particular hot button was the equal opportunity system. The equal opportunity system in the Department of Defense and in the subordinate services is a very powerful tool for redress if you've been discriminated against. But it's a tool that's mostly closed to us because non-theists are not identified as a category of people who are eligible to be discriminated against and therefore use the system for redress. If somebody is making an open-minded interpretation of the Department of Defense regulations, it's pretty clear that the intent was it was supposed to cover non-theists. But in a literal interpretation, and those of us in the military, for the most part, were a pretty literal bunch.
Right. Yeah.
For a literal interpretation, it is very, very easy to say that, sorry, there's nothing I can do for you. I'm sorry your commander was picking on you because you're a non-theist, but you don't have grounds to make a complaint because non-theists are not protected. So we want just the wording changed.
That put in there to provide.
Yeah, we're talking about adding a couple of words that would have a huge, tremendous ripple effect.
To clarify the intent of what you think was the original intent of the...
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Seems like a small request to me.
It's a small request with the potential, which should be doable, I would think. And it's a small request with the potential
for a big impact.
For a big impact on just improving the lives and welfare of military non-theists.
So, I mean, the words may be minor, but they would actually give you a leg to stand on when it comes to somebody comes and complains to you and you say, now we can point to specific language in there that says that this is against policy.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
Great.
Well, I hope you're successful. When do you think you'll know?
There's no telling. Myself and Jason Torpy, we're working on following up with the Department of Defense representative now. But we're talking about it maybe just a couple word change, but anybody familiar with the government bureaucracy knows that no change comes quickly. So we're just going to have to keep working on it.
This don't ask, don't tell for decades now, right?
We're just going to keep working on it, and hopefully something will happen.
I'm a little curious about what was said about the issue of kids getting improper medical treatment. I mean, having approached the government, obviously there's a particular thing that you would like them to do about that. What I'm wondering is, like, you have Richard Dawkins, for instance, saying raising a kid in a particular religion is child abuse. And we've had some hotly debated, some hot debates right here within the atheist community of Austin about whether it's okay to go that far or where you draw the line. What kind of points were made about this issue?
The Secular Coalition of America's position on this is that it should never be allowable for a parent to deny medical care for a sick or injured child in lieu of, or never be able to deny medical care for a sick or injured child and substitute prayer as the sole medical treatment. And the SCA's position is it's going to take something at the federal level, because right now it's left up to the states whether or not to have a religious exemption and to apply a religious exemption.
This is a tough issue, right? Because you're coming between
tough.
a mama and her cubs.
Very, very, very tough.
Right.
And the lady at the briefing who was supposed to illustrate that point, she couldn't make it. I mean, it was rough all getting to the SCA thing, because the weather up north, it's not like Texas weather. The weather up north was a challenge, and the lady who was going to speak didn't make it, actually, because of the weather. So a representative from the Secular Coalition read her statement.
There was maybe
and
some minor precipitation that week.
Yeah, and when they start talking about snow measured in feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they were dealing with up there. But they read her statement. It was very moving. This was a woman who had a major bone infection as a child that would have been easily treatable with antibiotics, and instead it left her bedridden for a year. And then by the time
she's a victim of this
exactly,
thing.
And by the time because her parents were Christian scientists, and they believed in the whole laying on hands, healing with prayer, and everything. And to make a long, poignant, moving story short, it ultimately ended up with her having to have her leg amputated as an adult.
It's completely unnecessary.
Right, because it was something that would have been easily treatable with antibiotics. And her particular experience was in the 70s, but it's still happening. You still read about these cases where children die of appendicitis and other diabetes and other
that's
easily
another big one, right?
Yeah, treatable conditions, or they die just in horrible deaths, and they use the religious exemption as a defense.
Okay. Well, we have some calls lined up, and I'm actually going to take calls in the reverse order that they were received, because the last two callers are from Austin, and both of them seem to have relevant things to say on this particular issue. So we're going to start with Al, who wants to talk about his experience being an atheist in the military. Al, are you there? I'm going to put Al on hold.
Hello?
I don't know if it's...
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Are you there, Al?
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. My name's not Al, though.
Oh.
So I guess you got the wrong person, or...
What is it?
Can I, just ask a question? I mean, or do I have to be on topic here?
No.
You don't have to. I guess Al dropped. So...
Okay. I just found your show, a few weeks ago, and I grew up in a Christian household, and I was taught to that Jesus is my Savior, and et cetera, but when I got older, I realized something here isn't right. Something doesn't make sense, and I consider myself an atheist, but sometimes, it's the whole Christian thing has been programmed into my brain, and it's hard to get that out. And I was wondering, is there something I can do, or, because I don't want to, I always wonder, well, you know what, I don't think there's a God, but what if there is? What if I'm wrong, and I'm going to hell if I don't believe in Him? You know what I mean? You see what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as it turned... Oh, shall I go?
Go ahead.
As it turns out, I guess both Russell and I have never been theists, but from what I've heard, it's a very difficult transition. That they do have their hooks in you, and they do play on the fear thing quite a bit. And I can empathize with what you're going through. My suggestion would just be to get yourself involved with a community of like-minded people, and step away from that as best you can. If you're here in Austin, we have a lot of resources. We have the Atheist Community of Austin, and we have the Center for Inquiry, and a couple of other groups as well. So you are where?
I live in Indiana.
Indiana? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There are, if you look around on the web, if you look at our frequently asked questions page, there's actually a guide for finding local atheist groups. And if you don't find one, it's really not that hard to start one. You can create an advertisement on meetup.com. and with very little effort on your part, you can start to get a group of folks together, and you'll have this mutual support, and that
Right.
is very, very important.